Welcome to the Soul Podcasting Podcast, where we explore purpose-driven podcasting for coaches, creatives, and leaders who want to make an impact through their message. And I'm your host, Demetria Zinga, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, we're diving into a conversation that will challenge the way you think about marketing, messaging, and audience connection. So I'm a creative strategist and podcast coach and the founder of Soul Podcasting. And for more than 20 years, I've helped entrepreneurs and leaders use storytelling and digital media to build trust, strengthen their brands, and amplify their voice. Today's guest is Rachel Allen. She's a marketing strategist, a copywriter, and founder of Bolt from the Blue Copywriting. With more than 17 years of experience in marketing, Rachel has worked across both nonprofit and for-profit sectors and served clients in more than 21 countries worldwide. She's known for helping businesses combine strategic thinking with authentic communication to create messaging that truly resonates. In today's conversation, we unpack some of the biggest misconceptions in marketing and explore what actually works. Rachel shares why much of the marketing advice people follow falls short, and what strong positioning really looks like for podcasters and entrepreneurs, and why the ideal client avatars aren't always the answer. We also discuss how to better understand your audience and how to use AI as a tool without sacrificing your unique voice and your perspective. So if you've ever wondered why your content isn't converting, or you've struggled to communicate your value clearly, or you felt frustrated when people aren't taking action, this conversation is for you. Rachel offers practical insights and a fresh perspective that can help you create stronger messaging, build deeper audience connections, and market with greater confidence. So let's get into the conversation. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Soul Podcasting Podcast. I have an exciting guest today. We're going to talk all about marketing and all the things related to that with our guest, Rachel Allen. And she is a fast-thinking marketer with broad-ranging experience in for-profit and nonprofit sectors. She's written for some of the biggest names in business, and she excels at marketing that's equal parts data-driven and human-centered. And so I'm really excited to talk about sort of that combination of both of what that means in marketing. But welcome to the show, Rachel.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am too. I'm excited to have you. I would love just to get to know you more and have our listeners get to know you. Before we kind of dive into all the marketing talk that we're going to get into, I'd love to know about your favorite things to do in life and what makes you happy.
No one has ever asked me this on a podcast before, and that makes me happy. But I think, the books, if you're on a video, you can see I've got just like hundreds of books behind me on the walls, and I love reading. And I have a cat named Ellie who makes my heart happy every day.
Oh,
yeah.
My daughter just got a cat. And so I hadn't been a cat person until now she has a cat, and I go visit her and I'm like, oh, it's starting to grow on me now.
Yeah, they're so soft.
Yes.
She may join us. Normally she doesn't, but I have been on podcasts before where she jumped up and knocked my whole entire desk over. So fingers crossed, not today.
What a character. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but it'd be nice to see her.
Yes.
So what are the sort of what's your story into, so you're a copywriter. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so I'd love to know more about your story into copywriting and writing in general, and how you started to care about helping people with their positioning in business.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a writer, ever since I can remember. I mean, I wrote little, books in kindergarten, which is, marker on construction paper, but I never really thought anybody would pay me for that. So, I went to school for journalism, which was the closest I could get to like writing that people will pay you for. And then I graduated into the '08 recession. And of course, nobody was hiring. So I ended up working at Old Navy, unpacking boxes in the warehouse on like the 5 a.m. shift. And I did not want to do that for the rest of my life. So in my 22-year-old brain, I was like, well, what's the furthest away I can get from Tennessee? And it turns out the answer is Hong Kong. So I bought a plane ticket and I just left, but
Wow.
I did work visa because, who needs that?
What an adventure. So you just kind of upped and left and started a new life. Wow. That's bold.
Looking back, it really is. At the time, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? We'll try it.
Did you have any friends there, or you just kind of started from scratch?
I'd studied abroad there before, so I knew like the area a little bit, but
Okay.
I didn't really have any connections there. Just just kind of went for it.
Right.
Um, and as I'm there, like, unable to actually apply for jobs there either, having put myself in a much worse position than I was in, I'm Googling like how to make money online, which is so ridiculous. But I found this freelancing job that I was like so sure had to be a scam, but I took it anyway because, I was like, whatever, we'll see. And it turns out it wasn't a scam, and I really loved it. And that's how I found out what copywriting was and actually got really interested in marketing as an art form.
Oh, wow. Wow. So it was kind of your life just kind of traipsed into the copywriting, but you'd already had a love for writing as a kid. So this is something that you were naturally drawn to, but you answered the call, you saw the ad, you answered it, and you're just like, okay, I want to do this. I want to try it. And so what was your first impression when you landed this job, and what was it like for you?
I was utterly baffled that anybody would pay me for something that was so easy and fun for me.
Wow.
Yeah. It was one of those, like, they have like Airbnb experiences, but this was
Hmm.
before Airbnb existed because I've been doing it for so long. So it was like that.
Right.
But it was, you buy like a gift card for somebody to go in an airplane ride in like a World War II airplane. And I had to write the ad copy for that. So I wrote the ad copy and I was like, this is cool and fun. I got to learn about airplanes and also they paid me. How does that even happen?
That's wild. I love that. So you just started writing a lot. Probably at this point you're writing about different topics because they're all like business things that you have to write about. And so one of the things, I don't know if I read this on your bio. I don't know where I saw it, but I think I see a quote of 99% of marketing advice actually sets people up to fail. So I'd
Yeah.
love to hear a little bit about that, and how your writing kind of got into the point where you were helping people with their marketing and giving advice on how they can sort of change things in their business for the better.
Yeah. So, I've been doing this for 17 years now, and I finally realized why it is that so many people struggle with marketing. And it's because most of the advice is framed in a way that requires you to have control over factors that you just can't control. So, for a sale to happen, you have to have four things all happen together, which is you have to get the right thing in front of the right person at the right time and in the right way.
Mm.
And you can only control really about two of those. And even then it's a little iffy. So you can control like what you're selling. You can make sure it's excellent. You can control who you target, but you can't control what time they're going to see your marketing copy.
Right.
And you don't know exactly how they need to hear it.
Exactly.
And so when marketing advice is like, oh, well, like just do it, just get all those four things right. I'm like, am I a time lord? How am I supposed to do that? I can't control those things.
Right.
And people take it to heart. They think it's something wrong with them. And I'm like, no, like a lot of this is luck. It's luck, it's timing, it's showing up consistently. So you can actually kind of shift that in your favor.
Yeah.
But I just always encourage people to remember, like, there is no hard and fast, pull the lever and sales happen
Right.
thing. It's not your fault if it's not working.
Right. It's not magic. Like,
Yeah,
there's so many different layers to marketing, and it could be any number of things that relate to the success someone might have on a campaign versus it just flopped.
exactly.
So the wording and how we say things, and if we have the right, audience in the first place, maybe the right niche, maybe the right passion for what we're doing, a lot of things need to add up to make sense. But how would a podcaster know if their positioning is off a little bit? And what actually, my main question is, what does good positioning look like?
Ooh, that's such a good question. So positioning, a lot of people don't ever think about it or talk about it, but it really is the foundation of all your sales. And what it really is what am I doing really, and why would anybody care?
Right.
And that sounds really simple, but then when you're like, I write words and I don't know, it's important or something, it's really hard to actually articulate. So I think the first thing I would say is that podcasters should actually look at, have they deliberately created a position for themselves, or have they just started doing something because they think it's cool?
Yeah.
And maybe they've fallen into a position, but they haven't really gone about that deliberately. So to answer your question as to what good positioning looks like, it's really clear and it is deeply emotionally resonant.
Mm,
Yeah,
I love that. Really clear, deeply emotionally resonant. Oh,
exactly.
that's so clear. It's like It's like cutting to the chase. Like this is what we're trying to resonate with our audience, and we first
Mhm.
need that clarity in order to do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
that's so good. Okay, so let's I guess talk a little bit about clients and like as far as avatars versus friends. So as podcasters, I know like we want to get clear, but our messaging can feel relational,
Mhm.
or it can feel robotic. And so there's those two different things. And I'd love for you to like speak on that when it comes to having a client avatar versus treating a client or treating our listener like a friend.
Yeah. So I think the way client avatar work is normally taught is kind of like you create this imaginary friend, of like, well, if I'm going to imagine my favorite client, and you go through all the little demographics. But the problem is there's not a real person on the other side of that. And so it comes across kind of hollow.
Yeah.
So when you're creating your client avatar, forgive me in advance, people hate this part, you actually have to talk to people that you may want to reach out to, which can be very unpleasant and scary, and it requires a lot of humility. But I promise you, if you speak to three people that you would actually want to be your listeners or you actually want to sell something to, picking up on the cadence of the way they talk about what they want and
Mhm.
hearing them tell you things that you might not have even imagined that they want will
Right.
make such a huge difference. And so it really is worth the like momentary discomfort of saying, "Hey, I don't really know how to talk to you. Please, can we have a conversation?"
Right, right. So what are some things you'd suggest as far as like making that happen? Like could it
Yeah.
be surveys or close friends or like what are some things we could do?
Yeah, so surveys are hard because nobody wants to answer them ever.
Right.
And also people lie on them,
Yeah.
unintentionally a lot of times because we tell people what they want to hear.
Yeah.
So, what I recommend is if you can find a place that you're pretty sure your listeners hang out, whether that it could be in real life, it could be at, clubs, if you have some sort of specific niche that you're working on, like a hobby podcast,
Mhm.
could be on LinkedIn, which is shockingly active right now. Very odd.
That's true.
But if you can find that place and say very clearly, hey, I'm doing this thing, I'm running this podcast. I would like to get a little clearer on who I'm talking to. Are you willing to have a 15-minute conversation with me? And then ideally in return, you can be like, I'll feature you on the podcast or I'll
Right.
offer you 30 minutes of consulting or something just to make it worth their time.
Yeah.
But a lot of times people will just tell you like out of the goodness of their hearts because we all want to get what we want. And it's
Yes.
so rare that somebody actually asks us that it feels really nice to be seen.
Exactly. Yeah, that's something I'm actually working on right now. I have a course that's coming out shortly.
Oh, nice.
Probably by the time this is aired and that we
Yeah.
promote this episode, the course would have been completed. But yeah, that's one thing I definitely had to go into research mode and find out what do people actually want. Like, so before I take all the time to create this course, I want to make sure that I'm addressing those needs. And so that is
Yeah.
what's taking so long to get this course out there. Just so I know I need to make sure that I'm not like creating a course for myself. I'm creating it for those who need the course. So I think, yeah, research is super important, even for a podcast.
Oh, definitely. And I mean,
Yeah.
it's definitely worth the time you're taking with the course because I have seen thousands of people create courses that are really great and that nobody actually wants.
Right.
So, like, good on you for doing the research.
Exactly. I don't want to waste my time. Like, I want to make
Yeah.
sure what I'm doing is helping. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And then, so, all right, we're going to change gears just a little bit because I've got to talk about AI. It's the biggest
Yes.
topic nowadays. And so it is a part of our lives. We're not going to get away from it, and it's here. And so a lot of podcasters are super anxious about it. They don't know how to either integrate it or maybe afraid that they're integrating it the wrong way, or there's these little rules that we're starting to create, like we can only do it for this or for that but not for the other things.
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
but for us, whether it's writing show notes or creating content or even just like for my husband, generating voices on his podcast. He's actually
Yeah.
creating characters that talk to each other in
Oh, no.
interview style and talk about like his podcast. So they'll do like a recap on his episode. So he's being really creative. But what do you think people are actually afraid of, and what should podcasters understand instead?
Mm. So I wrote, and Ellie has now joined us. You might see her tail going across the
Oh,
screen.
I
Thank you.
do. That's
I'm
awesome.
going to make sure she doesn't knock anything over. So a couple years ago, when AI first started being such a big thing, I wrote a blog post called "You Are Not a Metaphor," And I was talking about how what I think is really going on with the fear around AI is that it's actually an avatar for the pace of change. So the pace of change in the 21st century is exponential. There's lots of research on how things are going just so much faster than they used to.
Yeah.
And of course, it's terrifying when you have this thing come in that's very disruptive. It is being hyped as though it's going to destroy entire industries or build entire industries. We don't know. But either way, it's a lot of change.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I tell people is just to remember you are still the person in charge of like this body, this work, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
A robot cannot replace you because it's a robot. It's not a person. It just can't. It can't do what you do.
Yeah.
And what I recommend is use it like a tool, which is such an innately human thing. We've used tools since we've been humans.
Yeah.
And recognize that, like, no, it doesn't know better than you. You don't have to trust everything it says, but it can be an incredibly useful tool for really shoring up areas where you don't feel as comfortable or giving you a head start on things. So one place I often see podcasters using it is, as you said, creating show notes, creating social media. I really love the creative like element that your husband's bringing into it.
Yeah.
And it's just as with everything, this is not new advice, but it is worth repeating because people don't do it, is you just have to be the person in charge of it. So you can't just throw your stuff in there and be like, I don't know, make it for me, robot, and then expect it to be great because that's boring and horrible.
Right.
But if you treat it like a marketing intern where you give it something, you know that what it gives you back is going to be like a little iffy. You're going to have to like train it. You're going to have to say like, no, that's ridiculous. Don't ever do that again. Make me a coffee. If you treat it like that, then it can be a really useful tool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool and so interesting on how different people use it in different ways. And I would love to know how you're integrating AI into your writing and your business.
Yeah. So I have a couple clients that distinctly don't want me to use it, and that's fine because like I've been doing it for a long time anyway.
Yeah.
I find it super useful for research. I love to use it to collate studies and pull findings out of studies because a lot of the work I do is very data driven. And so I can read all the papers, but it's nice when the AI does it for me and then pulls things and sort of points me in the right direction.
Saves you time. Time. And then gives you that extra boost for your research.
Exactly.
That's really good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been good. I'd love to know like more about, well, before we get there, let me ask you one more question about like moving that needle, because podcasters today might be thinking like, why aren't people buying my offers? Especially those of us who are not just here for hobby, but also to grow our businesses. So how would they create or help people to engage with their content? What is one tactical change that they could implement maybe this week that would have a long-term impact in their business?
Yeah. All right. I'm going to talk about what I call the Jedi mind trick of marketing.
Okay.
It sounds so simple, but it really does work. So whenever you get to the end of something, oh, hang on. This is a little like neuroscience detour. We're going to come right back in though.
Awesome. Okay.
So whenever we get to the end of something, our brains want to go to the next easiest thing because like we don't want to think about what to do next because that's hard. It takes energy. So if you get to the end of something and you don't know what to do, cognitive dissonance, the easiest thing to do is just close it out and forget about it because I don't want to make a decision. But if you get to the end of something and then they're like, do this thing, super simple call to action, one thing, very clear, then the brain is like, okay, I guess I like do that thing. Cool. And it helps guide people into that. So if you can have a super clear call to action that you repeat whenever you get to the end of something. So it could be the end of a segment, end of an episode, end of a season, whatever it is. You just want to give people one very clear thing, which in this case is probably going to be, hey, buy this thing. Click here to buy this thing. Go to www.blah to buy this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I noticed, sorry. I was just saying, I noticed that one thing over the years that has been distracting, especially when, for me and for my newsletters, I would have like 5 or 6 different links, like click here or click there. There's a couple of different options for you. And I would get no click-throughs. So my click-through rate would be 0%.
Yeah.
And so that's probably why what you're just saying about that cognitive overload and making it easy for our reader or listener to do one simple action, one CTA. That's good.
Exactly.
Good advice. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, again, sounds really simple, but I see people, as you said, either add too many, or I see people apologize for asking for something. So they'll be like, buy my thing, or don't. If you don't want to, it's fine. Run me over with your car instead. And you're like, no, like that doesn't make anybody feel good. You just need to say, hey, buy this thing.
Yeah. No apologies. Just here it
Yeah,
is. Right. Right. And those
exactly.
who want it and need it will click and will respond. So
Yeah.
that's good. All right. Well, I would love to know more about your writing and what you do, what services you offer, and how you help those of us who may need some help with this writing and the CTAs and all the things that you're talking about today. So, what do you offer and how can we reach you?
So I offer marketing strategy and fractional CMO services. And what that really is I act as your external marketing brain and tell you what to do so you don't have to think about it. I also do the writing if you don't want to do the writing, because I think that part's fun. So I work really well with people who have reached a plateau in their business, or they have a seemingly impossible problem. And they're like, I don't know why this isn't working. I don't know why they're not buying. I don't know what their problem is. Da, da, da. They come to me and I love figuring that out.
Very, very cool. And that's something that everybody needs in business. We need someone to kind of help
Yeah.
guide us through that and who can like clearly articulate this and write our content for us should we need that. And
Yeah.
yeah, we do need that kind of support. So how can we reach you, Rachel?
You can find me at boltfromthebluecopywriting.com. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn, or you can just email me like it is the ancient times at rachel@boltfromthebluecopywriting.com.
Love it. We'll get that in the show notes. And yes, email is still my favorite. So yeah, it can't be email. Well, thank you so much for just all of your advice and very hands-on tactical info. We really appreciate your time, Rachel, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, this has been wonderful. Thank you for having me.